Hello, Americans who like to eat. I'm Linda, and I want to talk about empty grocery shelves. They are coming, and sooner than we think. There's a 3,000 per day immigrant detention quota. 40% of farm workers in the United States are undocumented. You do the math. Farms are an excellent place to find undocumented immigrants to detain and deport, depleting the workforce. And now, those who haven't been rounded up are afraid to show up. Let's look at just one state, Texas. According to farmers, this issue has been affecting their farms for a couple of weeks, but overnight, it bottomed out. On several Texas farms, nearly 100% of farm workers aren't showing up. So what does that mean for you? Remember Trump's comment about having $2 instead of 30? Cows are milked 3 times a day. No workers, no milk, and some very unhappy cows. What if your grocery store, instead of getting 30 gallons of milk, gets 2? 28 families will not be able to buy milk. Now extrapolate that among produce. Produce that instead of being harvested is rotting on the vine. Texas is one of the top 10 producers of 40 major commodities. It is the 4th largest agriculture producer in the nation and 2nd in animal products. And it's not just cows not being milked and produce rotting on the vine. 1 in 7 Texans works in an agriculture-related job. If farms stop working, those jobs are affected. Workers not earning money aren't paying taxes. And yes, undocumented workers pay taxes. Without money coming in, they will cut back on things like restaurants and small businesses, movie theaters, wherever they spend their discretionary income. Last week, Trump ordered a halt to immigration enforcement at farms. But it may already be too late to solve the current problem. The lack of workers now mean farms won't hit full production this year. And if they lose planting now, there is nothing to harvest later. Yet despite Trump's assurances, a few days after his statement, the administration resumed the raids. Vance says the administration plans to continue clearing the country of undocumented immigrants. Quote, "We're enforcing everywhere. In other words, you ought to voluntarily go back and come through the proper channels," unquote. That can literally take years. And frankly, it doesn't protect you from being deported. In the meantime, the question remains, how long are you willing to go without food? Bye, Americans. Have a nice day.
First of all, let me address this point of food shortage. Food stuff or farming, mostly farming is the backbone of a country. Farming is where people survive. Farming is where people can't live without. First of all, in life there are 3 basic things. Number 1, food. Food is the most basic things that anybody could offer you. Number 2, shelter. Number 3, clothing. Any other thing apart from that, that's just any other thing. But food stuff is the backbone of every country. And I need to do a video of why farmers, they didn't show up in the farms in the US. Why farmers are being deported back to their countries. And why is Trump doing that? Is he even thinking of people who are living there yet? Because if he was thinking of people who are living there, then he should never allow to deport people. It's not all about farming only. Building, constructions, hospital. Because I heard that 40% of workers in the US are people who don't have the documents to be living in the country. So people who are living there, they are just people who go into to work. But now, they don't have the document to be in that country. And for you to have the document in that country, you have to be staying there like for over 5 years. Like let me say 7 years to get the permit to be living in that country as a citizen. So tell me how I just came to US yesterday. I mean like a year ago. I'm willing to stay here for the 5 years or more to get the ID of being a part of the country. But now you are deporting me back in 1 year. Let me play here some videos. You tell me if that is right. Let me people are suffering out here.
It's Joe from Georgia. So this is news out of Texas. But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States. And our government is not listening. Overnight, multiple farms in the state of Texas completely shut down. And the reason for this shutdown was because they have lost almost 100%.
Not just losing people. Almost all of them vanishes. You have been planning on preparing your land for like 6 months or so, and then one morning you wake up to go to your farm, you find nobody's there, nobody's showing up, nobody telling you anything, but just simply because the government asked them to leave. We know if we were able to buy citizenship in a country, people will have bought that thing already. But you can't buy citizenship in a country. You can't buy citizenship. You have to stay in a country as long as possible to be a part of the country. But because you don't have the because you can't buy the document of being in that country, you have to be alert. So I'm calling upon farmers who are living there. How is the whole thing? Because I know it's suffering. So when there's no food, let me just finish this video first.
Of their workforce. Now, we know this is the result of the immigration raids and stricter enforcement, but the ripple effect is going to be felt all the way across this country. Now, you've got crops that are rotting in the fields. You have livestock that is not being attended to at all, and that takes a lot of personnel. And we're talking, so now we're getting every area of food to include meat. And the communities that surround these farms, those businesses and those people who depend on the income from these farms, it's creating disasters for small communities in Texas. Now, this is not stopping at Texas farms. This is going to end up all the way across America, especially in the breadbasket, the middle of the nation, because they have tons of immigrant help. But folks, the alarm bells are ringing. Your food on your plate is being affected. So you got to think about it. It won't be soon until either prices go ridiculously high or you just won't have any food to.
You might be able to buy food for a while, for some times, until there will be no food. First of all, Americans workers are mostly immigrants from Africa, maybe, or any other country, but mostly from Africa. And the Africa who are living there, they went there to make a living, to make both ends meet in Africa, because Africa is just another story. But farming, how long can you stay without the food? How long can you be without eating food? How long can this take you? How long can you stay without tasting any food, like just being okay with what is there? How long? Tell me, how long? But if Trump would have thought twice to make that bold decision, it would get moved. If you're talking about farming, I'm not talking about maize, rice, wheat, and other things. I'm talking about entire farming sector. Because farming comprises of so many things. Livestock, the cows, milking them, the sheep, maybe feeding them, going to the farm to make their food. You can imagine going to the farm to make the foods for these animals. And that requires a large number of labor, of course. It requires labor. So if the country doesn't have labor to work in the farm, people will suffer and animals will suffer. There's nobody will be there to milk them. Again, Maybe they have been maybe they have been farming, they have been planting the crops, they have been making their own, the things to have been in process. But now, they are no longer there. Maybe there's a farm that is ready to be harvested. So there's nobody who is going there to harvest the farm. Because of why? There's no enough labor. Even if you will be able to use machines, okay, well and good, but now, for how long? For how long will you use the machine? The machine can't do everything. Machine can't do everything. The machine also requires labor, skills. So I think Trump just made a very, very wrong move. I think so. Because chasing or deporting people from your country who are the backbone of the country. You know, food is the backbone of any country. Yeah. So if you are deporting them back to their countries, who will work for you? And 40, can you imagine, you know the meaning of 40% workers? 40% of the workers in US are immigrants, people who don't have the document to be living in that country. So Trump will be so smart. And the funny thing that they are paying tax as well as anybody who is living in that country. You are there to work, yes, but still you are paying taxes. You are paying rent. You are paying bills as any other person. Nothing is for free there. You are paying for everything. So why did he just sit down and thought of that and just after him being aware that people in this country who are working here are helpful, useful to the whole country? Let me play here another video.
And there's reports now that some farmers have 100% of their workers not showing up and they're being forced to shut down. In South Texas, they grow grapefruit, they grow oranges, lots of different citrus varieties, leafy greens, onions, potatoes, peppers. So not only are the prices of what we can get going to go up at the grocery store, but also there's going to be massive food waste if there's nobody picking these crops when they're ready to be picked. I hope MAGA likes a diet of strictly processed foods.
Donald Trump has already wrecked the U.S. economy. What's happening right now across the country is that foreign workers, who of course are not documented, they're terrified of being deported, they have decided to not show up to work, which according to farmers across the country is resulting in a massive issue because there's nobody to do the work. In California specifically, it is the peak of citrus harvesting season, and unfortunately, a lot of the workers that they hire, again, undocumented workers, are simply not showing up. So there's nobody to pick the citrus, and it's just sitting out there in the fields, and they're warning now that this could very quickly lead to a massive shortage across the country. But again, it's not just citrus farmers in California. This is the entire agricultural industry here in the United States warning us that even though we're not seeing the raids yet, the threat of the raids have been enough to cause a worker shortage. And now that the agricultural industry is sounding the alarm bells, economists are also sounding the alarm bells, as they have been for months.
Texas is the amongst 10th state that produce maybe food stuff. And it's number 4. It's among the four states who are doing the best in maybe farming. You know, so the labor that's coming from Texas to the country in terms of taxes and all the other things, it's high already. It's very high because people are, the whole country expects them to give them groceries, anything to eat, anything eatable, milk, maybe meat. So who will be there? Nobody. Any cow should be milked 3 times a day. In the morning, that's maybe 5 a.m. in the morning, afternoon, and in the evening, or maybe twice a day, in the morning or in the evening. But if the cows are producing a lot of milk, they should milk 3 times a day. But tell me, who will be there to milk the cow thrice a day, or maybe they say 2 times a day? Because there's no labor. Those who are there, they can milk 100 cows per day in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. They'll get tired. Thus, they'll produce a little amount of milk from the cows. And if they go to sell, only few people will get the milk, and some won't get the milk. And if they get, the milk will be on a higher price because it's on demand. Because milk is a very nice diet to everyone. So if you don't have food in your country, milk, groceries, like, we ain't talking about farming only. Buildings have been being constructed. Who are doing that work? Do you tell me that Americans can go to work on a building site? Can they? Those are the blacks who have labor, who have power, manpower, to whether to work for them. But now they're being taken back to their country, deported. Farmers ain't showing up in a farm because they want to show off, to show up in a farm, but because they're afraid of their life. First of all, you are an immigrant. Second of all, you don't have the document to be in that country. Third of all, you are black. I think Trump wants to be working anywhere in the country, sees white people only. Like white people only, everywhere. God, that's not right.
News out of Texas. And if this is happening in Texas, this is happening elsewhere. I'll put the link to the article in the description. Multiple farms are shutting down due to lack of workers because the entire workforce has basically fled and is in hiding and not showing up for work. Crops are being left to die in the Texas heat. Livestock is being untended to, unwatered, and unfed. There's just no one to do the work. So this is going to lead to potential food shortages because I'm sure this is happening across the country. Most farm workers are questionably documented. No one else is willing to do the work. This is going to lead to shortages, and inflation is going to go back up as we're going to have to import food from outside.
With the idea that, yes, this could probably lead to a recession. And now it's more like, yeah, it's going to lead to a recession, and it's going to happen a lot quicker than we had anticipated, because that's what Trump's policies do. And we're only in the infancy of it, folks. We're a week into this thing, and we're already seeing the ripple effects throughout the United States economy.
How long can you stay without eating food? Without eating anything, putting anything in your stomach? Trump thinks that Trump thinks that because he deported the farmers, people, maybe the blacks, people who ain't legal to be there. First of all, food stuff. There's no food stuff. There is somebody working in an office. He has document of being in that country. But now, he is in the office, but he lacks food in his house. You feel me? He is in the office, yes, but now there's no food in the market. He's like, after here, okay, I have money, but there's no food to be bought. And if there is, they are very expensive. You can imagine. The food is there, yes, but it's very expensive. So the thing that we know, every part of the country is affected. See? And Trump said that people can go back to their country because they don't have legal document to be here. They can go back to the country and use a proper channel to come back to America. How long will that take? How long will it take you to go in US? Like, how long will it take you to go in US back and work there like any other person freely with documents? And that won't stop you from being deported back to your country. Mostly blacks. They won't stop you from going back to your country. They won't stop you. That not stop you from going back to where you are from. They don't care about you. So if you be there or not, they don't care. They don't give a fuck about it. So just Trump would have thought twice, thrice, even 4 times, or ask people to advise him. For the meantime, there will be some food, but very expensive. But it will reach time that there will be no food totally in the country. Tell me, where is the country heading without food? Where is the country heading without farming? Where is the country heading without people? Farming might be paying a lot of tax in the country. You know that, right? And you know that it's I'm okay. I'm sure of that. Farmers pay tax. Blacks who are living in America are paying tax also. Either you have the document to be in the country or not, you have to pay the tax. How to pay the tax to be living in that country? So why are they being deported back to the country? When they're helping the country, in fact, they're giving support to their country. Hospital, health-wise, people want to be healthy because they don't have people to treat them. Because people who are there to treat them, they are few, and all of us are human beings. We get tired. Maybe he will use the robots to treat the people, because I don't think people will be working in an hospital for over 10 hours. So Trump made a very bad move, a bad decision, I think so. He would have asked his community.
So there are reports coming out right now about farms in Texas losing nearly 100% of their staff due to immigrant workers not turning up because of fear of the ICE raids. So let's talk about that. Texas farms generate around $32 billion a year in revenue for the state. Huge, valuable. And there's around 100,000, and there's hundreds of thousands of farm workers in Texas. And around 20-30% of those are foreign born, and around 17% of those are undocumented. So there's a lot of immigrants and a substantial number of undocumented immigrants. Now, the ICE raids have caused people to stay at home.
100,000 farmers lost their farm. Like you just lose your land that way. Just lose your where you are making a living, not for you, but for the country, for the people who are in your country. Then boom, no food, no what, no need. Like right now, there's people who have been investing in the farm for the past 6 months since the year began. They now have the food in the farm. It's ready, but there's nobody to go there and harvest the food. I'm only praying for the Americans, because it won't be easy. It's a bit difficult. I don't know, but I'm praying for you guys. I'll be doing more of these videos from the US, Texas, mostly people who are suffering, Florida, California. Farmers are going bankrupt. Farmers are lacking people to work for them. Farmers are now will struggle, and trust you me, food stuff will shoot until there will be no more food in the country. That's when Trump will know that he made the wrong move. I don't know who advised him, but Trump will mess you up. I'm seeing it coming, and he'll mess you. Totally, he'll mess you up. I've been your boy Kifa, and this is Kifa Media. I'm from Kenya. Guys, subscribe for me to. You'll be getting more of these videos. Not just America, but Africa as well. I do a very, very amazing podcast about African politics, culture, lifestyle, So yeah, subscribe, and let's meet in the next video. And peace be with the Americans. And I love you guys. We love you. You are our family. You are part of us. And peace be with you.